presenter today is Mr. Kevin Sedovic with NDSU University. He's going to go through how to do the range clipping, how to fill out that form and information. We know a lot of kids have struggled with that at the state contest, so that was one topic that we really wanted to cover. So Kevin, you're up.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure to host the training today. We're actually at Central Grasslands Research Extension Center, which is our main research station in North Dakota that looks at grazing and livestock and range production. So we're going to demonstrate how to clip a frame and what you use that for, and then how to convert it into pounds production. You ask, why do we clip? Why do we even do this? And producers could use this, even agencies can use this as a technique to determine what's the production of your rangelands, and you can take that value and either determine the carrying capacity for that land, or you can even look on the wildlife side and see what kind of production you have for wildlife habitat. So this is a frame that you typically will use, that you'll see done with the Envirothon. And for us, we're gonna clip brome grass today, which is what you typically have at Crystal Springs. And so you just put the frame down, and you try and get your live tissue in that frame, and then you sort out the edges. And for contest purposes, you don't have to be precise on this. You're basically trying to get a value to determine a carrying capacity for contest purposes. And in the real world, what we would do is we'd actually collect about 5 to 10 of these to determine production across the pasture. So we got our frame here. This is what we're going to clip today. This is what we're going to look for production on. You need the clippers. You need a bag to put it in. And so we'll clip this down and put it in the bag.
You pulling dead matter out?
So as Mark said, what you'll typically do is remove your dead thatch or your litter from the previous year. This should take you about a minute and a half, depending on how quick you are. And since this is a team competition, you probably will designate a couple people to help clip this frame.
Slowing down here a little bit.
Very simple. Once you clip it, you put it in your bag, and then you take it with your team, and you're going to get your weights. That's it. That's all part of clipping. Very simple tool that you can use for production. Now we'll take and show you how to use this to convert to pounds per acre. This, you'll get a form that gives you kind of your references for using for carrying capacity and production. The form we're going to concentrate on today is this form here. It's your form you'll fill in your numbers on to get a pounds production conversion.
This is what we use.
Right. This is the one that's used for the Envirothon.
And for NRCS purposes, we use that too.
So we're going to weigh the bag. Glasses on. What we typically will do is you'll grab the top, you'll weigh it. And this one here is at 118 grams. So on your sheet, where it says total clipped weight, which is column C, you're going to put 118 grams. The next column asks you for bag weight, so while you're doing that, the next person can be weighing a blank bag, which Mark's doing here.
7 grams.
7 grams?
Oh, I'm sorry. 22 grams.
Yep, 22 grams. So you're going to write down 22 grams in column D, and all you're going to do is take the bag weight from your total weight to get your production weight. So 118 minus 22 is 96 grams. So that's your production. From there, you're going to do a conversion for dry matter. Do you give them a formula?
I give them dry matter. On the instructions, they're given dry matter.
So you'll have this on your form. In this example here, we're going to use 0.35. So you put 0.35 in the box. Someone should have a calculator, but from your team, you're going to multiply 96 times 0.35 Mark's doing this now.
Let me get my phone up.
96
Times
times 0.3.
0.35.
33.6.
33.6 grams of dry weight. And you may ask, why do we want dry weight? The rest is water, and so you take that out because that's just almost like filler. You're not going to get true production from water. So from the 33.6 grams, now you're going to take the frame size, which we have here, which you have to then take this up and blow it up to equal an acre. And the value for this is 50. So you're going to put 50, which they already give you in here, is 50. Take 33.6 times 50,
1680.
which is 1,680 pounds per acre of dry matter. Now you still have to adjust this for the time of year when you're clipping. So because our grasses grow and peak in July, you'll do a conversion for growth factor, which they give you that form. Bring it up. So it's in this table here, they'll tell you the conversion. Now you'll see the percent growth that occurs in, for instance, March is 3%, April's 10%, May is 35%. We're clipping in August. So you add all these up through August, and that's your growth for the time of the year. In this case, it's 90%. So you're gonna take that 90% back to your table. You give them this?
Yep, they get all of that.
So you get this. Whoops, sorry. We'll go back on the form and put in 0.9 for 90%. So now you take the 1,680 grams times 0.9.
1512.
You divide, I'm sorry, divide. You divide, not times. So take 1680 divided by 0.9, because it's adjusting upward.
1866.
1866. So our total production is 1,866 pounds. You then can bring in a grazing factor. So if you have grazing occurring on that site, and they'll give you this in the contest, what is your grazing factor? Has it been used by 20%, 30%? Contest purposes, I believe it's no grazing, right?
No grazing. We pick a site that hasn't been grazed.
So you're basically gonna multiply times 1, because there's no grazing. So your final production is 1,866 pounds per acre. I hope that makes sense. Basically, you're gonna clip the bag, take your total weight, minus the bag weight to give you your grams, multiply that times dry matter, which in this case is 0.35, to give you 33.6 grams of weight. Take that times your frame size of 50 to give you 1,680 grams. Times your growth curve, in this case is 0.9, for a total production of 1,866 grams.
Turn it. You're upside
Oh.
down.
You see it? So if you go through, you can see with the 118, the bag weight, the production minus the bag then. Here's your percent dry matter. This is your total after dry matter then. This is your frame size to get you total production. This is your adjustment for growth curve to give you your total production. This will be the answer on your contest, the 1,866 grams. Hopefully that makes sense.
That number will vary depending on where they clip and how much they do, so. I do go through and
Okay.
add them up, make sure they're doing everything.
Okay.
But use their ballpark.
Sure. It really should be straightforward if you follow the format. And what's nice about the form that Mark gives you is they give you an example on the top that you can follow on where they're getting through there, so you can see the final output. You're going to adjust your numbers based on the table, but it is nice to follow their example they use here to get your final output. We're good? Golden.
I think so. Okay, so we do have a question. What do you do with that number? What does that number mean to like a producer or in a system?
So it's a great question. So our production we have in this case is 1,866 grams. For a livestock producer, we use a book value of about 900 pounds, I'm sorry, this is pounds, 900 pounds it takes to feed a cow for a month. So from that value, you can determine how many cows you can run on that per acre basis based on consumption and also what you want to leave. We obviously don't want to graze all of that production. You want some to stay over for value for regrowth and for production of a healthy rangeland. But that's what you're basically trying to do, is get carrying capacity from that. If you're a wildlife enthusiast, you can look at that value to see what kind of production I have and structure achieved from that to provide habitat for nesting birds or for even broods that are going to use that area. So it has a lot of value. It's just a matter of where you want to use it for. And for multi-purposes, it fits both the livestock sector and the wildlife sector in terms of its value.